So you've probably heard about manifestation, right? It is all over social media. You see people claiming they attracted their dream job or their soulmate just by, thinking about it. And hey, if you've rolled your eyes at that, I totally get it. It can sound a little out there, like pseudoscience. But what if I told you there was some real hard science behind it? Not magic, but psychology and neuroscience. So today, let's pull back the curtain and actually look at the science of turning your thoughts into your reality.
You know this quote from Henry Ford? It just perfectly frames our entire discussion today. It's the whole idea in a nutshell. Our beliefs don't just reflect reality, they can actively create it. And today, we are going to unpack exactly how that works based on actual research.
All right, first up, let's just tackle the phenomenon itself. What exactly is manifestation? And how in the world did it go from being this kind of niche idea to a full-blown mainstream belief? Okay, let's get a really clear definition on the table so we're all on the same page. A 2023 study in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin defines manifestation like this. It's the belief that you can kind of cosmically attract success using tools like positive self-talk and visualization. So it's not just wishful thinking, it's a specific set of practices people use. And you might be wondering, how common is this belief really? Well, that same study found that over 1/3 of people endorse manifestation beliefs. That is a huge number. It shows this has really moved way beyond a fringe idea and smack into the mainstream. The big question is, why?
So why is this belief so powerful? Well, the answer isn't out there in the cosmos. It's actually right inside our own heads, in our psychology. It is all about your brain's built-in reality filter, a well-documented process that shapes how you experience the world, literally every single moment. I love how Stanford psychologist Alia Crum puts it. She says, our minds aren't passive observers, simply perceiving reality as it is. Our minds actually change reality. Think about that. Your brain isn't just a camera passively recording the world. It's more like a movie director, actively choosing what to focus on and how to frame every single shot. This idea is perfectly captured in the groundbreaking work of psychologist Carol Dweck. She identified two core mindsets that we all fall into. A fixed mindset is the belief that your talents and abilities are just set in stone. But a growth mindset, well, that's the belief that you can grow and develop your abilities through effort and practice. And here's the key. Your starting belief dramatically changes your potential outcome. So how does this work? Well, it happens through what some psychologists call the cognitive lens. Think of it this way. Your thoughts, when you repeat them over and over, they start to harden into beliefs. And these beliefs then act like a filter or a lens that you see the world through. Your brain then actively scans your environment, looking for evidence that matches what you already believe is true, while it pretty much ignores anything that contradicts it. And this leads us directly to the self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a classic 4-step loop. So first, you have a belief about yourself. Let's say, I'm just bad at interviews. Then second, you act in a way that matches that belief. So maybe you get nervous, you stumble over your words. Third, the interviewer reacts to that behavior. And then fourth, their reaction confirms your original belief. See the loop? You literally helped create the exact reality you expected. Okay, so that's the psychology of it all, kind of like the software of our minds. But what about the hardware? Let's zoom in now and see what's physically happening inside your brain when you decide to set an intention. Okay, this quote from Stanford neuroscientist Dr. James Doty is a little blunt, but I love it because it just cuts right through all the noise. His point is that manifestation isn't about asking some external cosmic force for a favor. The real power isn't out there somewhere in the universe. It's right inside your own head. So from a neuroscience perspective, manifesting is really just the process of rewiring your own brain. Dr. Doty calls this embedding an intention. Through things like repetition and focus, you literally create and strengthen the neural pathways, the connections that motivate your brain to notice opportunities and take actions that lead you toward whatever your goal is. Now, to make this happen, there are 3 key brain networks that work together kind of like a team. First, you've got the default mode network. We can call this one the storyteller. This is where you daydream and come up with new ideas. Then there's the salience network, which is like the bloodhound. It's constantly monitoring your environment for things that are important to you. And finally, you have the executive control network. That's the driver. It's the part that actually takes action. So the whole point is this. The goal is to get your intention, your great idea, from your daydreaming storyteller network all the way over to your action-taking driver network. And how do you do that?
You do it by training the bloodhound network to recognize that your goal is a top priority. Once it knows that, it starts sniffing out every single relevant clue in your environment that can help you.
Okay, so this brings us to what's probably the most important part. How do we actually use this stuff? How can you take all the science and actively use it to start rewiring your own thinking? Let's start by just considering the power of your own language. When you say something like, I have shoulder issues, you're defining it as a core part of your identity, right? It's a fixed state that you exist in right now. But now, watch what happens with just one tiny little linguistic shift. I have had shoulder issues in the past. That one simple change can shift everything. It reframes the problem from being part of your current identity to just a past experience. It opens up the possibility for a totally different future. This is you actively rewiring your brain's story. So how do you actually embed your intention, like Dr. Doty talks about? Well, he recommends a few key things. First, set goals that are grounded in compassion, not just selfish gain. This actually keeps your brain in a calmer, more focused state. Then, write your intention down and read it aloud. This engages more of your senses. And finally, repetition is everything. The more you focus on it, the stronger those new neural pathways become. But, and this is a really big but, it is crucial to understand both the power and the peril here. While all these techniques can be incredibly empowering, there is also a significant dark side to taking these beliefs a little too far. So on the upside, that same PubMed study we mentioned found that people who believe in manifestation tend to see themselves as more successful, and they have stronger aspirations for the future. I mean, this makes total sense, right? It's that growth mindset in action, and it leads to more motivation and optimism. But here's the dark side. The study also found a really strong link between manifestation beliefs and risky financial behavior. Believers were more likely to be drawn to risky investments and, sadly, were more likely to have experienced bankruptcy. It seems they might have believed that positive thinking alone could override financial realities. And this just perfectly illustrates the need for a reality check. Here's the deal. You can control your mindset. You can control your focus. You can control your actions. What you do not control is the global economy, random chance, or the actions of other people. Manifestation is really about directing your own personal power, not trying to control the uncontrollable. But that internal focus, that's exactly where the real power is. As Dr. Doty says, the most important thing to realize is that you have power within yourself to change things. It's not about waiting for the universe to give you a reward. It's about taking charge of your own brain. So when you look at all of it, the science is pretty clear. Our minds are active participants in creating our reality, whether we're aware of it or not. Those self-fulfilling prophecies, the cognitive filters, the neural pathways we strengthen, they're all at work all the time. So the real question this leaves us with is, what reality are you choosing to create?